Olivia. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to chat with you.
I'm excited
I
to chat with you too.
I I just started golf like 3 months ago. So also my dog is here, so hopefully he doesn't bark or anything, so I apologize in advance.
Yeah, my dog's here too, but he's in the back, so.
That's smart. That's smart. My dog was just chasing his tail, so hopefully he relaxes. Um but back to you. So I just started golf 3 months ago and I'm 30 and my dad had been playing golf pretty much his whole life.
Mhm.
When I read that you started golf when the pandemic hit and you're 15 years old now. Is that right?
Yes.
So what made you turn to golf? Cuz you're already an athlete.
Yeah. So, I technically started playing golf when I was 12, but my birthday's in the summer. So since the pandemic started in the spring, it technically started when I was 12, but I turned 13 like a couple weeks into playing golf. But I started kind of reluctantly because my mom had heard about a class that they were doing for kids of color at my local golf course for free. And since I couldn't really play my other sports because of COVID, she suggested that I try it. And I wasn't really interested. But she kind of insisted because it was outside and it was something safe that I could do at that time. And she was like, if you don't like it, you don't have to go. Like, because I wasn't making a huge commitment by going. So she signed me up and I went and I just fell in love with it. I really liked it. So I just kept playing from there.
And what was it that hooked you? What did you like about it?
Um, I like that. Like at the time, I wasn't playing a lot of sports that were individual. So I like that it's individual. Like I love a team, but I like relying on yourself and um I'm kind of a perfectionist, so like it's just you, so you have to, really work on yourself. And I also like that it's such a mental game, because I really like mental puzzles and stuff like that.
Same. Me too. Me too. That's awesome. And so when you started golf, you're based in Chicago, right?
Yeah, just outside of Chicago, yeah.
So when you started golf, is that when you noticed that there was a big diversity issue, or was it before you even picked it up?
No, it was really during because I was fortunate enough to learn, and my town is really diverse. So I was fortunate to learn in a space where there were a decent amount of people of color. But the main reason why, so the program that I got into was specifically for kids of color, right? So knowing that the person who started the group, like went out of his way to make sure that there were leaders of color and kids of color, but the person who started it was actually a white male from the high school that I now go to. I wasn't going there at the time. And he started it because he noticed there were so few kids of color on our high school golf teams. So girls and boys. So that's why he started it. And it like that I wasn't really familiar with golf before starting. I wasn't someone who really watched golf or anything like that other than when my dad had me watch Tiger play cuz my dad likes supporting every of color athlete. So but prior to that, I didn't have much experience with the game. So it really came from getting more serious with it and going to different classes where like um, having people of color wasn't necessarily a priority, and also playing in tournaments and different things. Excuse me, where there were fewer girls as well. So that's more where that came from.
Yeah. Yeah, I when I grew up, we my dad watched golf too and I always thought it was really boring, so I never watched it. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to lie, I still don't really like watching it, but I really enjoy playing it. But yeah, there I never associated it as a woman's sport either, and there was. There were female athletes playing, but as you said about Tiger, like I felt that he and other men were just dominating the sport and there was not really a place for us to play, which I think has changed a little bit now.
Yeah, I think that like obviously we're not like super close in age, but we're not super far either. I think that even just in that gap, it's changed quite a bit. But I think that there's still a long way to go. I too think that most people focus on the men that play golf because they get such like a bigger platform, whether it be from sports media or just like culture in general. I think that like so when I started playing golf and I told my friends like a lot of whom are girls obviously and women of young women of color, they were just like play golf. Like they like when I say golf, they think of like old white men in country clubs. So it's not like they don't really see it as a sport for people like us, but it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Even my friends, when I said, "Oh, I picked up golf this summer," they were like, "Why? Why? Like, what?" But yeah, it's, and it's a really, as you said, it's a very mental game because even if you're a professional, you can mess up because you really have to take the time to focus on what you're doing, which is why I personally love the sport, is that no matter how many times I go to the same course or something, I can still not be as good as last time or I can be better, but it's all about what you're doing mentally to get to that level, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, because it's like I play basketball as well, and it's like every if any different gym that you go play basketball or like for professional athletes, different arenas, the hoop is the same size, it's the same circumference, and the baskets are the same distance apart. But for golf, it's like wherever you play, it's gonna be different.
Yeah. Yeah. And so talk to me about starting Diversify Golf because you're only 15. That's a huge endeavor and it's so meaningful and impactful. But I know that also you're in school, you have other, sports that you play, you have a social life. What made you come up with Diversify Golf?
Yeah, so the actual name was kind of like a back and forth between my mom and I, but in starting it, I think I just realized that, like, because obviously the first program that I was a part of, I felt like there were like people of color there, and I learned in an environment that was all people of color. But I realized that that experience is pretty unique. It's not something that's commonplace. And so when I started moving into going to like different places for training, and doing programs that weren't just strictly for kids of color, it was so white male dominated. And most of the people I played with, of course, were like upper middle class because you can't really afford to play the sport otherwise. So the main reason why I started it was first to make it affordable for everyone. So all my programs are like completely free for participants. And then the second thing was that like they're taught by people of color and people of color who actually play golf and actually like love the sport. And most of them, at least at this point, are also people who have other interests as well, though. So I have more than one interest, in all the people that I work with do. They're all involved in other things to help inspire the kids to excel even outside of just the sport of golf. So
Yeah.
I started it for those reasons. But yeah, the name specifically, my mom and I were just like, what should we call it? And then we kept thinking about it and thinking about it, and we eventually came.
I like it because it's straight to the point. Diversify golf. It's
Yeah, we
exactly what
like
you're
it.
trying to
It's
do.
it's it's like a call to action like statement. So we really
Yeah. And that's also so important for you guys to be building this community. And, it's hard nowadays in the world to really support one another and show that no matter what level, right? Because in golf, I'm sure at the camp there's different levels of people that even if you're a beginner, somehow magically it's just within you and you're great. But it's just a community of we're gonna support each other. This is for all of us. So I can only imagine what these other children are getting out of this and the impact that you're making at such a young age. And I also know that, as you said, golf is not an affordable game. It's really expensive. The clubs, to go play golf, even if you want to rent clubs, just every aspect about it is insane. And
Mm,
so you were collecting and donating golf clubs, and I saw it on, I think, the Diversify Golf account where people were just donating golf clubs.
mm.
So how did you come up with that idea? Because it's brilliant where you don't have to buy anything and it's really a way to reach out to the community.
Yeah, so um I have I have experience in community service, and I've run two of my own projects prior to this. So with my second most recent project, because Diversify Golf was my most recent, I just started it in March. Um, I did a lo- I it was I did hygiene kits. So it was a lot of asking for monetary and physical donations. And so my mom and I kind of have like a network from that, and we also like kind of know where to reach out on social media locally. So my mom and I like kind of do the social media together. So she did a big push in like local moms groups and local like online garage sales and things of that nature to see if anyone had any clubs that they were willing to donate for free. So, of course, I live in an area that there's a lot of wealth, but there's also a lot of people who are lower class. So, and there's also racial diversity in that. So we live in a very diverse area. And we had a lot of people reach out who were willing to donate their kids clubs that their kids grew out of or didn't end up taking up the sport, and some adult clubs as well, because we have older kids who are taller as well. So we collected, I think right now I have around like 15 to 18 sets of clubs, which we just drove around and picked up in our car, and people just gave them to us for free, so we didn't have to pay for that. And then everything else, like balls and other equipment, I actually got a grant for that. So yeah, I got a grant from a local organization that gives the grants.
That's incredible. I mean, and all the skills that you're learning from this is amazing and just going to push you further in life because you're learning about marketing, you're learning about investing, grant writing. Like, there's so many amazing things. And you also created a a 4-week golf clinic. And that was part of your golf team and the Girls Play Sports organization.
Not fully, although I'll explain it more. So I the first kickoff event that I did for Diversify Golf was a local festival for like the PTA, for we call it the PTA Equity Project here in Evanston, and they were having like a big fest fundraiser, and I did like a station there, and I did putting with different kids from the area. Oh my dog is making noise now. But then besides that, I started my like clinics, which were for 4 weeks, and it was 2 days a week, which was Tuesday, Thursdays, and we did it in the morning at a local community center where all the participants were kids who participated in the camps at that community center. So it wasn't really like open registration. It was for people that were already involved there. Um, and it was not like officially in partnership with Girls Play Sports, although I have done a day clinic with them where I taught golf to their participants. But I'm connected with them because I participated in many of their programs, and I serve on their youth board currently. So yeah, Girls Play Sports for people who don't know, because it's local. So I'm assuming a lot of people. Um, it's an organization in Evanston that is committed to teaching more girls about sports and keeping them in sports past middle school, because we know there's a huge gap between those that play in elementary school and those who play in middle school, many girls drop sports. So the goal is to make it as cheap as possible for girls to participate in sports and be taught by high schoolers and high school coaches and different things of that nature so that hopefully they'll continue on playing sports in middle school and high school.
I love it. I think that's so important. And yeah, there's a huge, huge gap. I mean, I wasn't a professional in any sense, but I definitely stopped playing basketball once I got to high school. And, I think also these types of programs build the confidence that we all need to continue playing sports because we don't need to be the best of the best, but, there is a confidence aspect that comes along with playing sports. And yeah, I think that's amazing. And then you got the Future of Evanston Award.
Yes.
Tell me more about that.
So I won a Future of Evanston award. There was which was back in this year 2020. Okay, so 2021. I had that.
Time is
So it was
confusing.
a year ago. It was about a year ago because I won. The event was like in September, so it was almost exactly a year ago. And I won it from like the City of Commerce, I believe, or like the Northwestern City of Evanston and Chamber of Commerce. Okay, and yeah, I won it for my community service. Actually, prior to Diversify Golf being founded, so it was for my community service with Hygiene Kits for Evanston's Underserved, which is one of my other projects, and then Olivia's Pink Lemonade and Pink Ribbon Cookie Sales, which is my other project. So for that, and then I also did like different stuff during the pandemic. I tutored kids in math and English, and I did like sidewalk drawings at like outside my house and at local fire stations, the hospital, places like that. And then I actually won that award with two of my good friends actually who also do community service. One who's a couple years younger than me, and one who's my age. And so we won it together. It was a lot of fun. We got to go to the event and like accept the award. So
Wow, I'm just blown away. You're 15 years old. You've done so many things and all impactful and meaningful. You seem highly intelligent.
thank you.
What do you want to do in the future? What's your like dream job?
I've always wanted to be a doctor. So my goal right now is to be a biomedical engineer because over the years, like my direction has shifted from like medicine to engineering and like kind of the combo. So that's where I'm at right now.
Cool, cool. And I assume mom is over there next to you.
Yep, my mom and my aunt who's visiting for the holiday as
Oh,
well.
hi, mom and aunt. If your mom wants to pop in for a second, I'd love to hear her opinion on. I mean, your. I don't even have words anymore, but just who you are as a human. I mean, I every time I have a interview, I try to find people that are just inspirational. And a lot of times in the beginning, it was just adults. And I'm finally finding these young, intelligent, meaningful humans like you who are just, I mean, blowing me away because it takes so much self confidence too to do all these things. And it's not easy. I mean, I'm 30, I'm running my own business right now, and it's extremely, extremely hard. And you're 15 and you have so many projects. I mean, it's just, were you always like this as a young child, just wanting to do better for the world?
Oh yeah, my mom will pop in a minute, but I've done community service for since I was like 4 or 5. But in the beginning, it was like little projects with my mom and my dad through like local stuff. But yeah, I've pretty much been doing that since I was little. And my first project I started when I was 9, like my first like solo project. So I've just been doing it. It's like fun. It's like fun for me, like how other kids like play games or play sports. Like it's the same level of fun for me as it is to play like sports. So,
Yeah.
and I play 3 sports, so it's like that for me.
Wow. I mean, it's just it's beautiful to hear, my generation is a little concerned for the next generation just because the way our world is where it's not very safe, it's not inclusive, it's not diverse, and it's 2022 and we're still struggling with battles that we've struggled with for years and years. And it's beautiful to see young entrepreneurs, really trying to make the world a more beautiful place. So I hope you are extraordinarily proud of yourself and all your accomplishments.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we're all done, and I don't need to include mom in the end of the podcast that I put out because this is your show, not mom's show. But I do, since she's here, I do want to have the opportunity to just say hi and
Sure.
commend her on.
She's coming over.
I've kept you guys for a very long time.
Thank you.
Uh, thank you for coming on. And my last question is, if I come to Chicago, can we play a round of golf together?
Of course, I'd love to.
All right. New York.
That's my thought.
And
Yeah.
I can't wait to play a round of golf with you and
Yeah, me
have
too.
an amazing weekend.
You as well. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye.